Hi and welcome. We're just going to show how we can change and set the laser code in the F-16. First thing we're going to do is bring up our kneeboard. So we'll jump into the cockpit, right shift and K on the keyboard brings this up. Then to change the number, we need to hold down right shift and right alt and then tap the 9, 0 and negative or take button on the keyboard. So I'm going to change the first number to 7 with 9. The second number to 7 with 0 on the keyboard, and then the last number to 7 with negative on the keyboard. We've got it to 1777 and that's it. Now if you set that up in the mission editor, that is the number that you would be changing, that number there. We'll get our plane started. Just keep in mind you don't need to turn on the maps button. I'm just going to change this here so that we've got the DED data above. I'm going to show you to close that, bring our canopy closed, change this to IFF. Now we're just playing by ourselves, so this is not really important at the moment. Just check everything's okay. Close the canopy. That's all good. Now we're going to put some weapons on. So I'm going to change this down here. Stores config to cat free. Then we're going to jump to external view. I'm just going to bring this up. We're going to throw on the lightning pod. I'm going to throw on 2 GBU12. So one GBU12 and on the other one we'll drop on a GBU12. So we've got 2 GBU12s on there. I'll get rid of all our gun ammo because we don't need that at the moment. Click OK. We can get started with the rest of the startup. You only need to turn this one here. You don't need the others, but I'm just going to turn them anyway. Definitely missed this one. Do not touch that one. I'm going to hit air to ground mode. I'm going to turn on the master arm and a laser. Normally you would do that once you're in the air, but I'm just doing it so I can get ready. Put myself into SMS mode, inventory. Just waiting for those bombs to get on board. Obviously they're not even on board yet. So this is all ready for us now. Getting there. To change your laser code in the plane, we can now show you it at least. I'm going to click list 0 and 5. So that's list 0 and 5. Wherever you are in this DED, you can always click list and it will bring you back to here. So list 0 and 5 will bring you to the laser code. Now the laser code we need for TGP is 1777. So we're going to put in 1777 and then just make sure that you put in enter on the keyboard. So 1777 and then enter. Now I can't set, if you're wondering why it won't work, because we're going to be waiting for the TGP. So I'm just showing that it's not working, but if you see here it says not timed out, it won't work. So if you're wondering why you can't put in your laser code up here, it's because we're waiting for the TGP. Once the words not timed out are gone, it will work. So we'll just uncage that while we're here. We can also check on our alignment by clicking list and 6, and you can see over here it's got 10. That will do for me. So we're just going to change this now to nav. You could put it back to norm and let it get the rest of the way to 6, but 10 will do for this start. So just keep an eye on this. It'll take about a couple of minutes. You can put your parking brake on if you want. It's not particularly necessary as long as you've got your throttle all the way back. We've got our external lights happening. Change that to however you want or what is necessary. We can turn on our internal lights and consoles. It's not night time, so it's not too bad at the moment. We'll go back to our code number. You'll notice up here now it says not timed out is gone. So we can do list 05 and now we can put in the 1777. So I'm going to do 1777. Whoops, if you enter a wrong number, you can always push RCL and then enter your new number and then click enter. So 1777. Now the TGP code is the number which is on our plane. So that's what this is. coming from our plane. The LST code is if we're looking for someone else's code from another plane. We want to drop the bomb on their code, but we're not doing that at the moment. We're using our own code, and that's why you'll see down here LSS. So that's if we're looking for another plane's code. So don't worry about that. If you see 1688 and thinking it's not going to work, that's not the one that's important. The one that's important is the one that's up here, which is the TGP code, the one coming from our own plane. If we're looking for someone else's, then that's when this becomes relevant. So at the moment, I'm just going to click standby and enter grounds. And you'll notice we get switched on and we can start moving. So we're just going to push F2 on the keyboard, give the plane a little bit of throttle, push S on the keyboard for those who are steering. Now I'm just using the keyboard for Z and X to steer the plane, but I do have rudder pedals. W on the keyboard, of course, will brake, and you can also do that with rudder pedals. Steer over this way. It's a pretty light plane. We're not carrying any fuel, but we're not going very far. So we'll just line ourselves up casually with the runway. Just keep in mind that you keep your speed low on the F-16, otherwise your wings will tilt over very easily. That looks pretty good to me, so we're just going to brake. Now you can keep your nose wheel steering on up to 60 and then turn it off as you take off, but I'm just going to turn it off straight away. So nose wheel steering off, and that's done. This is ready for us, and all that's good. Again, you don't need maps on, so that's all fine. We're in nav mode, and we can get ourselves up into the sky. So just going to give ourselves a little bit of throttle. I'm not doing a full afterburner throttle, just a little bit less than mil power. If you see a no rad up here, don't worry about that. That will disappear once you get your wheels off the ground. Keep an eye on this. Once you're over about 160, you can pull back. Depending on how much your load is, you might wait till 170. So we're at 160, I'm going to pull back. We haven't used the full runway here. Push G on the keyboard to bring your gear in. You'll notice here my gear is in. So we're up and away. And use trim if necessary, just to keep your plane level. I don't think it's too necessary for this one. We can also see down here now a laser code. 1777, 1777 here. That's by turning this switch on over here, the DED button. This helps reassure us that we've got the right one. We've got this on the SMS page at the moment. I'll change it to guns and then snowplow mode in a moment, but I'll just wait until we turn around before I worry about that. Give us as much time as possible. So we've got 2 bombs and 2 targets today. We're going to try and get both bombs onto the target. We've got an altitude of 3,000. Biggest thing I need to do right now is climb. I want to get about 10,000. 5,000 is okay. Under that 5,000 it's probably a bit low. You'd be better off doing a CCIP delivery then. We just want to give enough time for a laser to get tracked. So we're at 6,000. Now just remember, you don't have to attack the target on the first pass. If you just want to find the target, etc. with your T-pod, that's fine. If you need more time, just come around again and then drop your bomb. So there's our target down there. So now we're going to switch over to this and see if we can have a little look at what our target is doing. So we're going to make this soy. I'm going to use an arrow, and then we're going to use the range buttons to look in. So if I just show you the controls on the keyboard and the joystick or whatever you want to set, you need to make sure you've got the main MAN-RNG knob. That's what you're using for zooming in and out. MAN-RNG knob, CCW and CW. Make sure you know what that is. On your joystick, you want to make sure you have set up your radar cursor switch up, radar cursor switch down, radar cursor switch left, and radar cursor switch right. You also want to know what your target management switch up, down, left, and right is. And you also want to know what your display management switch up, down, left, and right is. Now, your cage and uncaged button, it's not too important. You can just use C on the keyboard for that, but that's helpful. And also your S button, nose wheel steering button, that is helpful, but you also don't need to know that. You can just use S on the keyboard for that as well. Know what your trim buttons are, down, left, and right for your trim. This is the button that's very important, weapon release button. That's what you're using to drop the bomb. And then of course to fire the laser, you're using this camera gun trigger button. On this plane at the moment, you have to keep it held down, but you can keep it held down by just using a switch. And then of course I've got dogfight mode set on my joystick at the moment, and also this button to override it to bring you out of dogfight mode, but we're not going to need that at this time. So we'll click on cancel and we'll get back to our TGP. We'll find our little friend down there, which we found. I'm going to just point track him, and then I'm going to turn the laser on. So our laser's on, he's targeted, we're coming towards him. We probably don't need a lot more time. We're pretty much set up. Just going to make sure that we've got our master arm on our laser. We're pretty sure it is on, because if you look down here and it's flashing, the L, that means the laser is firing. So as long as you've got that, you're good. You now just want to make sure that you're lining your plane up here, so it's as straight as possible. Doesn't have to be perfect because it's a GBU 12 and you've got a laser. And try and get your altitude as high as possible. So don't keep yourself below 5,000. I'm up at 8 at the moment. I'm going to try and reach towards 10, so I'll pull back a little bit. Just check on this all the time to make sure it's still got yourself on target. Adjust it as necessary. So it's still got a point track on him. Keep this as straight as possible. Keep an eye on this. Got to hold down the weapon release button. Now keep it held down until it starts flashing. Let's drop the bomb, so we can now follow our bomb to our target. There's our target down there, and we can see it's tracking. We'll just see if we get our target. There's our target, there's our bomb. Looking like it's tracking pretty good. Target destroyed, and we can see target destroyed. So we've got one more bomb and one more target, so we will try and get that in the moment. We'll come out towards this way and then come around for another pass. Still using the same laser code. Now I can't change this once we are in the sky, so you need to be on the ground in order to change this with the engines off. I can go back, land, turn the engines off, and then I can change this code. But until I land and turn the engines off and set the plane up with the battery off, I can't change this laser code. So just keep that in mind.